singing, and the day's just beginning. Pat feels he's a really happy man. Postman Pat follows a trail. Pat was out on his letter trail in Greendale. When he had delivered the village post, he stopped to empty the letterbox at the top of the hill. "A few more for Mrs. Goggins to sort out," said Pat. But when he arrived at the post office, he had a surprise. "Good morning, Mrs. Oh dear. She's busy sorting something else out." Mrs. Goggins had a tangle of string, all looped and twined and twisted round her hands.
"Oh, drat this string," she said, pulling and tugging at it. It seemed to get worse the more she tried.
"Now then, Mrs. Goggins," said Pat, "don't get in a tizzy with it. You just want to take it slowly. Once you find the end, well, it must have an end. There are two ends to every piece of string." Pat's helping didn't seem to work any better. "Dear me," he said, "it does seem to be in a mess, and I don't seem to have the knack. Perhaps you should try knitting it. Well, I'd better be on my way with the letters. They're not tangled, I hope. Good luck." Pat and Jess were on their way along the winding country lanes. Up a hill and round a bend, Pat jammed his brakes on. "What's that? Hold tight, Jess. A piece of string across the road? Whatever can it be doing here? I hope it's not the end of Mrs. Goggins' tangle." Pat got out of the van to take a closer look. "We'd better wind it up," he said to Jess, "before anybody gets tangled up in it. Look, it goes right over this wall." Pat began to wind the string into a ball as he followed it across the road, over the wall and into the field. Jess thought it was a ball of knitting wool for him to play with. Pat put it down on top of the wall as he was climbing over. Jess gave it a good biff with his paw. "Stop it, Jess. We're not playing cat's cradle now," said Pat. "I think we'd better see where it goes to. It must be a very long piece of string. Come on, Jess. It looks like being a good walk." Pat climbed a small hill, winding string as he went. Jess disappeared into the long grass. Just when Pat thought he had lost his cat, there he was in front of him, sitting on a tussock of grass. There was a scarecrow in the middle of the next field, holding the string for Pat. "Please can I have my string, Mr. Scarecrow?" said Pat. But the scarecrow didn't want to let go of it. Pat pulled and tugged. He turned the scarecrow round and round. He held it upside down and shook it. It would not let go. Then, all at once, its head and legs fell off. "Oh dear, this silly scarecrow," said Pat. And the string was free. It took Pat a long time to put the scarecrow back together again. Then Pat was off once more across the field, winding away at the string. The mud sucked and slurped at Pat's feet and splashed and sploshed all over his legs. They came to another wall. The string still went on. Pat jumped over the wall, straight into a gorse bush. "Oops! Ouch! Ooh! Prickles!" Poor Pat. What a mess he was getting into. He said, "I'll find out where this string goes to if it's the last thing I do." On they went, up another hill, and through a very wet and sticky bog. Now Jess had disappeared again. Pat called and called, "Jess! Jess! Where are you, Jess?" Then there Jess was, sitting on a stone, washing his paws. "Jess! How did you get in front of me?" Pat sat down on a nice dry stone next to Jess. "Oh, I'll just get my puff back. Now, Jess, don't go disappearing again. It can't go on forever. It's what I said to Mrs. Goggins. Every string has an end somewhere." On they went. Jess was soon far ahead of Pat once more. Pat came to another road. Then there was a garden wall. "Now, whose garden is this?" said Pat. "I'm sure I've been here before." "Oh, I know. It's Granny Dryden's. How did we get here?" The string went across the garden, through 2 flower beds, 3 times round the sundial, then wound itself round and round the washing line. Granny Dryden was trying to sort it out. "Who in the world has done this?" she said. "Hello, can I help?" said Pat. "Hello, Pat. I never heard your van. Just look at this mess. Have you got some letters for me?" "Yes, but no, I haven't got my van. I came with this string." "Came with this string?" "Well, not with it, following it. Oh, it's all a muddle." "It certainly is, Pat. And it's made a right old mess of my washing line." "It's not my string, but don't worry. I'll sort it out for you," said Pat. "It's just a matter of finding the end. And then, oops, under there. Then, oh dear." "Are you sure you can do it, Pat?" Pat was not sure at all. There was more string wound round Pat than anywhere else, and his ball of string had rolled away under a gooseberry bush. "Now you know what it feels like to be a parcel," said Granny Dryden. Somehow Pat shook himself free and got the string away from the washing line. "Now that's a bit more like it." Pat was off again, winding string like mad, across Granny Dryden's garden, round the well, over the potato patch, over the wall, and into thick bushes and trees. Jess popped up again, just ahead of Pat. "We're off into the jungle now, Jess. Look out for big cats."